You want bars?
Yeah, I want bars.
Oh, you want bars?
Yeah, let's see it.
Told Brew with the Brew Live crew coming at you with the other two. We are the X Factor Pod. I got the bod, and Jon Rennie is of the Submarine Squad. His name is Studio Boy. He likes to play coy. Pickup truck he drives is a toy. I used to be a poet. I didn't even know it. Welcome, everybody, to the X Factor Podcast. Young Bruzy here. Bruh Millionaire. I go by a lot of different aliases today. B Money, the notorious BRU, Brew Chains, and as Jon Rennie likes to call me, the B Unit. So this is the X Factor Podcast. We are all blinged out here today. Myself and Young Ruzy.
Young
Ruzy, my co-pilot here today. And what are we talking about? We are talking about, forgot.
What?
Parker. This is episode number. And he didn't bother to tell me yet again, dropping that noise you hear is Parker down there, dropping the ball on this podcast. Our crack producer, a young Amish one, didn't tell me the number of the episode before the show, but we're talking X Factor technology. I'm blinged out with a lot of technology today. I've even got my kicks on.
Ooh, got those Pumas on. Look at those.
Yeah, my velour tracksuit. And this is a good look for me, isn't it, JR?
It is a good look. It reminds me of our Run DMC episode. Yeah, it's perfect. I like young Ruzy. He's good. She's good. It's a she.
It's a she.
She's got a Joey too, huh?
She's got a squash. She made a papoose.
She's blinged out.
Yeah. So we're talking X Factor technology today. I want to remind everybody that today's episode of the podcast is brought to you by.
It's brought to you by our friends at Bottom Gun Coffee.
BottomGunCoffee.com. Check it out. Go there. It's great.
Yes.
Ahab's Revenge. I give it 5 stars. I give it 6 stars on a scale of 0 to 5. How's that?
That's good.
So, X Factor technology. And, first I thought my outstanding co-host, the moral compass of the show,
yes.
JR, as I like to call him.
Young JR, old JR?
Just JR.
All right.
Not JR from Dallas. JR is in Jon Rennie. JR from Dallas got shot.
He did.
We don't want that for you. So
I'm trying to avoid it.
At first I thought JR was going to talk about his invention, shameless self-promotion for Peak Demand, his company. He is he's not just the captain of this pirate ship, folks. He's the captain of that which is known as Peak Demand. And he threw me a curveball and is actually not going to shamelessly self-promote his creation and invention. But now he doesn't know I'm doing this. I'm putting him on the spot to just kind of prep the audience for X Factor technology. I want you to tell us about your invention at Peak Demand, John.
So,
no pressure.
Yeah, so I'm not only just the good-looking CEO of Peak Demand, I'm actually an engineer and designer and inventor as well. So, yeah, we had developed a way to. It's a product called a fuse cutout, and if you don't know what a fuse cutout is, you've probably seen hundreds of them on your way home from work every day. They're up on a pole, and they're used to protect distribution transformers up on the poles. And one of the problems with these little devices is that when the fuse blows, the poor guys, the linemen, have to go try to find them in storms. So we developed a simple way when that fuse blows, it opens up and it reveals a red reflective sticker that you can see from a spotlight on a lineman's truck. They can see it very quickly, find it, and get the power restored quickly.
So it's like this equivalent of sending out, a signal flare with a flare gun if you're a ship lost at sea.
It's a bit like that. Yeah. So the linemen, we work with electrical linemen to help develop the product. And it's we're selling it around the country. And a lot of the linemen now call it the overtime killer because it helps them find and restore power quickly, and they lose out on their overtime. So it's both good and bad, I guess.
You made probably a lot of their company's leadership teams very happy with that,
Yeah.
and simultaneously the boots on the ground. So the generals are happy, the lieutenants are not, is what you're telling me.
Right. So what I just encourage linemen around the country, if you got one of those things and you actually can find the outage quickly, just, take your time, get it fixed, keep your overtime, and then you'll be okay.
Yeah, and if you own one of those companies or manage one, you didn't just hear that.
Right.
Yeah.
But
So, John,
just a way to find things quicker. And it's funny because that product's been around for 40 years and no one's really made any advancement in it. So we were the first one to do it in 40 years. Kind of neat. So yeah, that's what Inventions.
Innovators, game changers.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And where can people find more information about your company, John?
Peakdemand.com.
Peakdemand.com.
Yep.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You did put me on the spot there, young Bruzy. I didn't expect that.
Hey, they don't call me the dangling participle for nothing. You know?
Right.
Studio boy. How are you down there in the
Doing
lower
great.
square?
Doing great. Just chilling on my own little island down here.
You got the headphones on. You're
Yeah.
looking like a pilot there, or a gamer, one of the two.
Yeah, no, I need
He's
to.
young enough to be on Epstein's Island, but we won't go there. So, John, X Factor Technology.
Yes.
Now that we know that you are an inventor of sorts, let's talk about the subject matter at hand today.
Yes.
You're bringing an idea to the table.
Yes.
Young Ruzy and I are bringing an idea to the table.
Yes.
Who's going to go first?
Oh, well, I don't know. We did a number.
Should we shoot for it? Rock, scissors, paper?
Yeah, I say rock,
All
paper,
right.
scissors.
No, it's
All right.
rock, scissors, paper, not rock, paper.
Wait, what?
Okay.
Paper, scissors, rock.
Wait, I thought it was rock, paper, scissors.
Rochambeau. Gotcha.
Okay,
All right, you ready, John?
All right.
that's it.
One.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
You go first.
I get to choose who goes first.
Okay.
Oh,
Right?
so it's me.
No, you never go first. You never go at all.
Studio boy. Silence. Silencio. Just keep your eye on the audio levels, monitor the controls there. And small Amish children should be seen, not heard. So you're lucky we just keep you on the bottom square. Somebody mute him, John.
Yeah, I will.
So the person you're like a man after this, modeled after this guy, John. I firmly believe that this is, knowing what I now know about you,
Yes.
your invention at Peak Demand,
Yes.
and the fact that you are not just a CEO, you're a retired naval officer on a nuclear sub, you're an engineer, you're a man who can move in any crowd. You're a man of all seasons,
Yes.
Jon Rennie.
Except winter.
And
I hate
you
winter.
remind me an awful lot of the X Factor inventor of the technology I'm going to share with you today,
Ooh.
folks.
All right.
I could say this guy was an author too, by the way.
Okay.
I could say that the X Factor technology was the early version of the typewriter, which he invented, or perhaps the matchbox that lit on the inside,
Oh.
or instant tea, burn treatment gloves, or perhaps the rubber bristled toothbrush. But no, if I wanted to dig a little deeper on this inventor, I could say it was a cane with a hidden compartment for bus fare, which I'm confident was the predecessor of the cane that Evel Knievel used to carry around, that was completely hollowed out and served as a flask. I might say this X Factor technology was a postage canceling device. But no, that is not, none of those are the invention or the technology which Dr. Samuel Francis is most famous for? Are you familiar, any of you, with Dr. Samuel Francis?
I do not know the name, actually.
Don't call me Francis.
Yeah, don't call. Yeah,
That was a
lighten up,
movie quote,
Francis.
Parker, that you also won't get.
Lighten up, Francis.
I'm looking it up.
So you
Gotta
don't
look
know
that up.
Dr. Samuel Francis.
I do not know Dr. Samuel Francis. What did he do that was X factor in terms of an invention?
Well, in 1874, he had a patented invention. But we are going to backtrack a little ways before that. I told you his name is Dr. Samuel Francis, and he is, in fact, an MD. He spent the first 2 years of his medical career treating soldiers during the Civil War. Fun little known fact about Dr. Francis. He primarily was he was sort of a specialist before there were really specialists. Right. You're usually a generalist if you were a doctor, on the front lines in Civil War. He treated primarily head wounds and head and stomach injuries. And he also helped with like skin disease that happened. He later organized a Sanitary Protection Association, which was the predecessor to the Board of Health in New York City. So he was kind of an eccentric genius, and his most famous invention was the Spork.
The Spork?
The Spork. You heard it right. Now, a lot of you are probably thinking, because I know we have millions, well, hundreds of thousands of listeners, thousands of listeners. Okay, the 10 of you who are listening are probably thinking, no, Taco Bell invented the Spork, or maybe it was Boston Market or the folks at KFC invented the Spork. No. No. This dates back to 1874.
Wow.
Dr. Samuel Francis invented the Spork. Kid you not. How about that? Of all the things he invented, the typewriter, instant tea, rubber bristle toothbrush, all of these like revolutionary things. And he treated injured soldiers on the front line in the Civil War. He is most famous for the freaking Spork.
But why isn't he why didn't we name it like the Samuel Francis eating device or something? I mean, I feel bad that his name has been lost to history. I mean, he invented the greatest utensil ever invented, and yet he doesn't get the credit for it.
And, it's interesting because this isn't the only combination invention that he came up with.
Okay.
At about the same time, he invented something called the triplex.
Okay, what's
like
that?
Cliff Clavern spouting all of these obscure facts at you. The triplex is a pill that mashed up 3 different homeopathic laxative remedies in one. The triplex, the predecessor to X-Lax. The triplex. So, here's the interesting thing. I think the reason why it was not called the Francis utensil or something like that was simply because he's been known for like these fusion sort of creations.
Okay.
And what really I think is probably just white privilege.
Wait, what? So wait,
yeah, I just think it's white privilege.
Because the Sporks are usually white? How is that? How does white privilege?
No. He was born into New York high society. His father was a doctor.
Of course.
His father was also an inventor. He used to travel in circles with like brokers, in the mid 1800s. And his dad is famous for being not just an MD, but a member of, early New York City's sort of upper crust.
Ooh.
Yep. I take that back. His father's the one that invented the laxative triple X thing. So it was in his DNA. It was in his blood to be a creator and inventor. But he attended Columbia University and NYU Medical School and traveled in New York City's most elite social circles.
Wow. So he
Now,
was.
here's why you'll love him, John. This man is, if he wasn't already near and dear to your heart for inventing the, the utensil that you use to make gains with outside of the weight room.
Yeah.
He is a great humanitarian too, and he loved nature and animals. He donated in 1864, 10 years before he invented the spork.
Yeah.
He donated a snowy owl to Central Park.
Did he really?
He really did.
Oh, I like him already.
Yeah. What episode number was that? If people wanted to tune into X Factor Animals, episode 7, you can go back to.
So yeah, let me check and make sure. I believe that is the one.
Yep.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. Actually, somebody on Twitter just posted a picture of what it looks like. A snowy owl in the middle of the night up in Canada had dove down and actually got one of those lemmings. We were talking about lemmings. They eat lemmings.
X Factor Animals is episode 9. Parker's having trouble counting with his fingers.
And it's quite an amazing photo of what it looks like when an owl does that. And it's just
sweet.
It was just like the wings in the snow and a big hole where it dug out this thing. So I still believe the snowy owl is my X Factor animal.
Well, mine is right here. Young Roosie, the kangaroo.
The
Young Roosie.
Right there.
Exactly. So the reason I like Dr. Samuel Francis so much is, in these many respects, he's a man after your own heart.
Yes.
And you're an old soul, John. You were a man probably born, after his time. The reason I am fascinated by him is because he seems to be a bit of a squirrel on crack, as you would say.
Yes.
Or as I would say, he's got that entrepreneurial ADD.
Yes.
He is a very successful doctor. He served in the military and the Civil War and invented things like burn treatment gloves. He was using his medical degree to also be entrepreneurial and be a creator and inventor, but that wasn't enough. He really had to explore different things. And, like all entrepreneurs, he's a little kooky too.
Yep.
There's some quirks to him. And this is where his stock might drop for some of you. He actually thought God made mosquitoes in order to chase humans away from various places.
Oh,
Like he legit
like
that.
Florida.
Yeah, exactly. Now, if he could have sold people on that idea, Florida man right now wouldn't be a thing.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
Yeah.
Actually, there's probably some truth to that. Actually,
it was really the mosquito was created by God for the purpose of driving man from malarial districts.
That's what I'm saying. There's some truth.
He was also an author too. He wrote memoirs, biographies, and books about his theories on the world. He dabbled in novels. He wrote a book called Inside Out, no relation to the Pixar movie. Sorry, A History of Water, a short story about Christmas, and a novel called Life and Death. And sadly, he did all these things, and then he died, never knowing that the spork would become as insanely popular as it is and basically be an element of, I believe the spork is an element of pop culture.
Oh, 100%.
It's taken on a life of its own, but it's also very utilitarian, like I'm all about simplifying my life.
Right.
And if I could convince my family to get rid of all of our spoons and forks and just have sporks, there'd be one less thing to clutter up our silverware drawer. Absolutely. Like I am all about utilitarian stuff and kind of paring things down. So it's just one too many utensils. Like what do people take camping?
Yeah, that's the thing. The guys that are hikers, they'll bring a spork. They don't bring a spoon and a fork because they got to keep their weight down because they're carrying everything on their back, right? So yeah, the spork is very popular for campers. Yeah, there's even an article I was just looking at. We test the 6 best sporks and declare winners and 1 loser. Apparently, you can make a loser version of a spork.
His wasn't. You know what his spork also did?
What did it do?
One edge of it, probably for right-handed people, served as a knife too.
Sharpened down.
Yep. The patent says that it could also serve as a knife. technically making it a spore knife or a spork, but no one knows it as that. It is
Right.
the most utilitarian thing on the planet, in my humble but highly accurate opinion.
And he was a medical doctor, is that right?
Correct.
Like the first lady?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Now, here's the interesting thing. It's his greatest legacy. He never knew it.
Yeah.
But in 1951, a guy named Hyde W. Ballard trademarked the term spork.
Wait, some other dude just shows up and he's like, you know what? We're going to call this a spork.
Yeah.
And
He didn't invent it, but he trademarked the term, which in 1950, like that's like 2020, 2021 type shit. That's like not 1951 type shit.
Yeah.
To just swoop in on
Yeah.
social media and take credit for something someone else created is very, very today. It's not very 1950, which I think is sad. I think it's really tragic.
Terrible.
Yep.
The spork should always be we should all, in fact, you know what? I'm just going to call it the Francis from now on. Whenever I see it, that's a Francis.
Absolutely. He died in 1886 in his summer home in Newport, Rhode Island. His obituary was in the New York Times. You see what I'm saying? White privilege now?
He's totally white privilege.
Yeah. His obituary was in the New York Times.
Of course.
And yeah, the Times even covered his funeral.
Wow. Well, but white privilege gave us the spork. So
yep.
Interesting. Very interesting.
And here's the interesting thing. As white privilege as that is, he was a man of all people. And he won all hearts. I got this from a Vox.com article. Newport's African-American inhabitants held a special meeting to commemorate and celebrate his life and service to their community, to their part of the Newport community. So he really was a man of the people, of all people, at a time when segregation was a very, very real thing. His last words were, "My work is finished. Let no unkind words be spoken of me. Goodbye."
Really? So he dropped the mic.
Dropped the mic, walked off. So with that in mind,
that's amazing.
With that in mind, to commemorate and celebrate his life,
yes,
young Ruzi and I are going to have a sip of whiskey in Samuel Francis's honor for inventing the Francis.
The Francis. Here's to the Francis.
It will hereby be known on this show as the Francis, not the Spork.
I agree.
See now how we have our own vocab and nomenclature,
yes,
so to speak. Stay up there, Ruzi. Be an athlete. I think that
too many chains. There's too many chains on young Ruzi.
The chains are weighing Ruzi down. So Ruzi,
he's leaning a little to the left. He's like our first lady.
You need a drink, Ruzi. So we have the buoy.
Yep.
Sam Bowie syndrome.
Yep.
Not quite X Factor. You're like second best. We have our own vocab with P1, P2, P3. Check your penis.
Check your penis.
From now on, if something is an invention that the inventor doesn't get credit for and should.
Yep.
Like the Spork, the Floby, the slap chop.
Yep.
Any of these TV infomercial things, we're just going to refer to it as a Francis.
It's a Francis. Yeah.
A Francis.
Yep.
So with that in mind,
here's to Francis.
Here's to Francis. We are still looking for a bourbon sponsor on the pod. So if you are a bourbon company that rhymes with or sounds like Lakers Lark, there's no free shout outs. You should reach out to us because we would like to highlight and showcase your product on a weekly basis.
Absolutely.
So, young Bruzy, cheers.
Cheers.
in honor of Dr. Samuel Francis. Is delicious. That is
How do you like that
Maker's Mark
101?
101.
Mark, is it good?
It's good stuff.
Nice.
Here's a movie quote for you. It tastes so good when it hits your lips. Parker doesn't know that one either.
I don't know that one
I
either.
don't know that one, but I feel like I should also take a swig.
You've seen this. You had to have seen this movie, Parker.
What's the name of the movie?
Will Ferrell stars in it. We're going streaking through the quad.
Hold on. I think I do know this movie.
I haven't seen
Old
it.
School.
Coach.
Old
Oh,
school.
yeah, I have seen this movie.
Remember that? Like they convince him he's not supposed to be drinking. They convince him to do a beer bong. He's like, all right, one more, just one more. Oh, it tastes so good when it hits your lips.
I haven't actually seen that one, Coach.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why. Just after Elf, some of Will Ferrell's movies kind of went downhill.
What do you got there, young Parker?
Got some no free shout outs. Some back Daniels.
Nice.
Rhymes with back Daniels, which is better than Daniel's back. So, yeah.
Rhymes with Dak Daniels.
But not just any Dak Daniels, right? It's the good stuff. Single barrel select.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yep.
Look at that stuff.
Nice.
We'd be fine with that sponsor too.
It's a festive looking bottle too.
Very nice bottle. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I would reuse that. I would use it as a decanter of sorts.
Yes.
Yep. So John, that's my X Factor technology compliments of the Francis, Dr. Samuel Francis. What's yours?
It's interesting because
it's kind of a rough segue. I'm sorry.
It was a rough segue. That's all right. But what's interesting is that you talked about a technology that has stood the test of time, right? The Spork was invented back in 1874 and is still.
Imagine if he got royalties on that too, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Think about that.
He could afford bling like this.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to talk about something about technology that's kind of withstood the test of time, and especially in the time that all this stuff is happening these days with basically sort of internet devices and smartphones and what have you. But I want to talk about,
not to be confused with internet divisiveness.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
Which is Twitter these days. But
you're canceled, I said.
Yeah, but the good news is that we're going to cancel everybody on one side of an argument so that there's no more arguments. So I'm looking forward to that day. So
yeah. I applied to be a fact checker who fact checks the fact checkers.
Nice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'd vote for you.
Dang, I couldn't say that 3 times fast.
Nope. Well, you need some 101. You need some Akers arc.
Yeah.
Lakers Lark.
Lakers
Lark. Yep.
So I want to talk about something that you got on your head right now. That hat, bottom gun coffee
Big
hat.
brain.
No, Parker has got a headset on that it does not have a wire that I can see. And the reason it doesn't have a wire because it's PFM, pure freaking magic, and that pure freaking magic is Bluetooth technology. Bluetooth is
what color?
Bluetooth.
Gotcha.
Did you know that Bluetooth has nothing to do with blue or teeth?
Now, did you know the toothbrush was invented in Maine?
Yes.
Yeah, because if it were invented anywhere else, it'd be called the teeth brush.
So get this. I'm just going to let that go. So get this. Did you know that Bluetooth was actually invented or I guess conceived? The idea was conceived in 1994. So it's actually 27 years old. The idea of Bluetooth connectivity and Bluetooth, that the idea of connecting a device to another device, right? So it used to be that we would have RS-232 cables was attached to everything. Any sort of computer device want to talk about?
RS stood for Radio Shack.
I think it did, didn't it? I mean,
with the red and the white ends.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
So that's how you connected devices in the past. And so these guys, and it was actually Ericsson, the phone company that was not very successful.
Leif
right?
Erikson.
Not Leif Ericsson, but Ericsson, the phone company, Sony Ericsson. And it was just Ericsson.
Who is Eric anyway? And why did his son become so famous?
Well, the Vikings took over everything.
No, you
I mean-
said Ericsson developed
Yeah.
the phone company. Well, who is Eric?
I don't
Did
know.
he not get credit for anything? Did his son get all the credit for this?
I think so.
Eric's son?
The guy who
Ericsson?
conceived it was a Dr. Jap Hartson. It's like 2 A's in the Jap and 2 A's in the Hartson. Jap Hartson actually came up with the idea. And it's named after a renowned Viking and king called Harald Bluetooth Gormson.
Well, the
Just
name like
named after-
Ericsson, you know, there's some Viking going way
Yeah,
back.
exactly. So they named it after a 10th century Viking king, which is kind of cool. I didn't know that. And actually, the symbol.
Just a hat rack.
I know. The symbol, right? Have you ever seen the Bluetooth symbol? You know what I'm talking about there?
It
That's
look
actually
like this.
no, that's a dollar sign, but it's very close to a Bluetooth symbol.
This is the actual symbol for Apple products.
It is absolutely. So it's actually called a bind rune, which is an extremely rare Viking age inscription. That little device you see on Bluetooth is actually a Viking symbol.
No kidding.
idea. So here's the cool thing. So back in the year 2000, I was working on a master's degree at Cambridge University, and I was touring all of Europe. And we were looking at best practices in manufacturing. We went to Bosch in Germany. So you know who Bosch is, right? They make very high-end appliances and devices and whatnot.
They make brakes for cars. They make everything
They make
from
a
brakes
lot
for
of
cars to dishwashers.
Yep. Anything German made is, German technology is Bosch is a big brand in it. So we were in their R&D department. They had a kitchen set up, and they were showing us this new technology called Bluetooth, in which the toaster, the dishwasher, the refrigerator could all communicate with your phone, your smartphone. So
What year?
this was in 2000 when I was studying for my master's degree.
This is like they were essentially pioneering the Internet of Things for households.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Now, here was my reaction after we had the visit and we met them and they talked about this Bluetooth technology, which was just coming out. The only thing I thought to myself was like, really, do I need to have like a conversation with my toaster on my cell phone? I got enough problems. I don't need my dishwasher saying, hey, no one emptied me today. I'm kind of lonely. I don't really need those conversations with my devices, right?
I got enough problems with Siri talking back to me.
Exactly. So I was thinking to myself, like, why does anyone need Bluetooth technology? But now when you think about it today in 2021, we are using it every day. Every time I get in my car, I start my car and all of a sudden a podcast comes up because my phone connects with my car and it's playing podcasts. It's playing Audible. It's playing my music. You hear that?
It's playing dog barking
It's
sound
playing
effects.
dog barks.
Yeah.
But Bluetooth is a big part of our lives, right? I mean, it's everything we have seems to be Bluetooth connected, and it's kind of a remarkable technology that started in 1994. It was actually never got launched until 1999, which was the first Bluetooth headset was ever launched, and it won the best of show technology award in one of these things called a Comdex, which I guess was some sort of a technology show.
What was
But
it
what's
called?
interesting, it was called Comdex. I don't know what that
Okay.
is. It might be a European technology show, but it won the best of show. But what's interesting is that Bluetooth over the years, it went from Bluetooth 1.0 to 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, and now we actually use what's called Bluetooth 5. And over the years, it is
That's what caused COVID, right? Or no, it's
Bluetooth 5.
5G. That's 5G.
that was 5G.
Sorry.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah, okay.
What's really interesting that Bluetooth is actually, it's very similar to Wi-Fi, but it's designed to be shorter range and lower power. So it doesn't take the battery life. So that's why you can use it on your phone inside your car and it doesn't really drain the battery life, whereas Wi-Fi tends to do that more. But what's interesting about all these evolutions of Bluetooth is actually it got better. The speeds went up and the distances went up as well. So it's funny that this invention, 27-year-old invention.
I'm not built for either one, by the way.
Speed or distance?
Or distance, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm a good downhill runner. That's what I've been built for. But what's interesting is
In a
that
race with a pregnant woman, the best I think I could hope to finish would be third, John.
Aha.
I'm sorry. Please continue.
Yeah. So what I like about Bluetooth and why I consider it an X factor technology is because, it came out 27 years ago and it is evolved to be something that we still use today, even though all these other things have come and gone. It's still there. It's still part of what we do.
Think about that. It hasn't been replaced by something else when so much other stuff is. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, even if you look at the devices that Bluetooth was originally created on in that ecosystem for like a Motorola phone or Ericsson or whatever. So those are long gone.
Yes.
But Bluetooth remains, and it is the conduit through which all these other devices now talk to apps and appliances and things. It's pretty remarkable because nothing, what do they say, the speed of technology and the quantity of information doubles every year or something like that.
Right.
Yet it's still relevant. How many years later? Almost 20 years later.
Yeah, it's still relevant. It's really interesting, and I'm old enough to have owned various, cars over the years as, as you connected to Bluetooth. The early versions, like the 2010 and 12 cars with Bluetooth, they were terrible. I mean, like it was just, you had to read the owner's manual to figure out how to hook it up to your phone, right? But now
that's why I had to get rid of my Rolls Royce, as the Bluetooth sucked on it.
I know. I've had the same problem with mine, and But my McLaren.
Shout out to Ferrari. I don't have that problem anymore.
Right. My McLaren, it just hooked up. I just walked in, it like instantly hooked up. And I think
super intuitive. Yep.
Yeah. So anyways, I chose Bluetooth because I think it's a technology that has evolved in a time when technology is evolving at a rapid pace and it's still relevant today. Yep. And I think it's very similar to the Spork. The Spork is still relevant today as it was in the mid 1800s. And I think that's, again, we don't compare our notes before we have this discussion, but there's two technology that withstood time, and the question is why, right? What's special about that that made these two technologies, withstand time?
I'd say there's the overlap factor, and what I mean by that with the Spork is it's literally a combination of a spoon and a fork, or so people think. It's actually a combination of a spoon, a fork, and the edge of a knife on one side, when done correctly, according to the Francis's patent. Yep. But the really interesting thing where it crosses over with the Bluetooth technology is the fact that Bluetooth is actually what allows two things. Like if the fork were an electronic appliance and the spoon were an electronic appliance, Bluetooth is actually what allows them to merge seamlessly with one another and communicate.
There you go. Yeah. So the question is, when you're working on something in your business, what are you doing to merge two ideas together, bring two ideas together, get that connectivity, build, and look at the companies that have built relationships, right? So the social media companies have become very profitable and they don't really do anything other than connect people, right?
Yep. You're the customer.
So exactly. So we are the content creators. They're just connectors. That's all Bluetooth is. It's a connector. It's not really doing anything. The middleware or the connecting piece is where there's sustainability.
And if you are going to create something like this, don't be a Hyde Ballard and swoop in, take credit for something and just give a fancy name to something that already exists. Oh, the Spork. Yeah.
No.
Give credit where credit is due. Bring other people along on the ride with you.
Absolutely.
It's not the Spork. It's the Francis. Thank you very much.
From now on, it's the Francis. And we're going to give credit where credit is due. And I'm going to give credit to the great Viking king, Harold Bluetooth Gormson, who was the patron saint of Bluetooth. It's a Viking invention. I think it's kind of cool. It's got a Viking.
A whole lot of white privilege wrapped up in one episode, folks.
It really is.
Yep. Yeah. The Vikings, what did they do? They were these big blonde-haired, blue-eyed Caucasians. I don't even know where Caucasia is on a map, but there are these blonde-haired, blue-eyed Caucasians who would rape, plunder, pillage, take people's land, take people's belongings, and just leave a path of destruction in their wake.
And we're still fascinated with them today.
We named an NFL team after them in Minnesota.
Yep.
They should be canceled. Let's
Should
put them
be.
on notice. They should be canceled. It should be the Minnesota football team from now on.
Right. Speaking of football, how about that Super
Why are we
Bowl?
discriminating against large sodas?
What?
Why are we discriminating against large sodas up there in that state? Why are they just?
Oh, I don't know.
Why
It's
is it
all
just
about-
mini sodas?
They just
Are
don't.
we fat shaming large sodas?
No, it's just big soda. They're against big soda. That's all.
The
You know?
soda industrial complex is not
Exactly.
alive and well there.
Well, speaking of sports, thinking about football, we had a Super Bowl, and
I'm sorry, I thought you said speaking of sporks.
Speaking of sporks, no, I would have said Francis.
Okay.
We had a Super Bowl, and the Tampa Bay Patriots did it.
Not allowed to say that.
What? Super Bowl?
Super Bowl.
Yeah, I know.
We had a superb owl. Spelled the same. We just placed the letters and the space a little differently. We had a superb owl
Superb
champion.
Owl. Yes. It was the big game. Yep. And the GOAT, Tom Brady, got his 7th Super Bowl win.
That is superb.
It is.
But,
So
How about did you see this? The lady that tried to have Tom Brady canceled?
no.
You didn't see this? Oh my God.
With the
Yeah.
with the one who was drunk coming
Yeah.
off the boat?
Yeah,
Okay.
so he was drunk on their boat tour, their boat celebration tour, literally in Tampa Bay, and so he's like every 43-year-old dad.
Yeah.
After a game, he goes out and gets drunk once a year to celebrate.
Right.
He's just like, that's typical 43-year-old dad stuff, right? So he takes the Lombardi Trophy, which they were hoisting up and showing all the fans and other boats and on shore. And in his boat, and there was another boat behind him that had like Gronk.
oh
and some other guys,
yeah.
and he throws it to him and he catches it. Okay. So the sculptor who was commissioned to create the Lombardi Trophy, his daughter or granddaughter, I think it was his daughter,
That's funny.
was very, very offended on behalf of her entire family and her father's legacy that he would so cavalierly use his white privilege and drunkenly throw and disrespect the Lombardi Trophy. Are you kidding me? Has that never seen what hockey players freaking do with the Stanley Cup?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like, get over yourself, lady. First of all, you didn't create the trophy.
Yeah, she's basically doing what that one guy did with the Spork.
Yeah, like you're riding the coattails of one of your ancestors. Shame, the greatest of all time, in a desperate attempt to gain relevancy for one day of your life.
Yeah.
To quote the great American philosopher Ice Cube, check yourself before you wreck yourself.
By the
And on
way,
that-
That's absurd. Is it not absurd?
Oh
it's
yeah, that is
funny because
crazy.
it's not even half as bad as what Gronk did a few years before with using it like a baseball bat. Do you remember that? And they actually the
No.
trophy that we have at the Patriots place actually has a dent in it where he used it as a baseball or as a
Sweet.
baseball bat. Yeah.
Sweet.
But here's to the GOAT. Here's to 7 Super Bowls. The Tampa Bay Patriots did it.
Oh gosh.
Pretty excited about that. Well, it was all
Might have
Patriots.
to,
The first 2 touchdowns were the former Patriots playing ball. I mean, it's
they
ridiculous.
made it look like a 7-on-7 drill, first of all.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
second of all, did you know that Tom Brady, the day he was traded to Tampa Bay, had the term Tampa Bay
Yeah.
trademarked.
Yeah. Tampa Bay. Yeah. He sells T-shirts that say Tampa Bay.
And Tampa Brady.
You know,
Cheers, Tommy.
Cheers, Tommy.
I'm just gonna say this too. Brady is the GOAT 100%. But Mahomes, I will give credit to Mahomes because he literally was the only person on his team. It was a one-man team. He was, I mean, if you see the highlights, he is literally running like 15 yards back, doing
He
a
had to throw to
backflip,
somebody.
spinning. Huh?
He wasn't a one-man team. He had to throw it to somebody.
Oh yeah,
Kelsey
but then
had a great game.
yeah,
Tight ends
Kelsey.
on both teams had great games.
Yeah, yeah, I will say Kelsey did great, but the thing is that
To your point, when he was scrambling and he was like half tackled, he's chucking the ball 40 yards sidearm while he's going down and hitting his receivers in the hands and a couple times right in the helmet.
face. Yeah, in the
You
helmet.
got to catch that.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
you have to, and that's what I was saying is like basically if you look at it, Kelsey did have a
Gotta
great game.
catch that.
Kelsey
Too
had a
late in the
fantastic
season.
game, but Patrick Mahomes basically was a one-man army that game. He had multiple throws where it literally hit the receivers right in the hands or maybe like a little bit further out and they still missed it.
Yep.
His
Well-
O-line is just garbage.
Well,
Well, they're missing a left tackle.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And so they moved the right tackle to left tackle, the left guard to right tackle, and the right guard to left guard, and then the backup right guard played right guard. It was musical lineman. And there's two schools of thought. Like you want one of your best blocker. You want your best blocker to play left tackle. Well, their best blocker went out. The second best blocker is the right tackle. So they moved him to left tackle. However, the footwork's completely opposite on the left side from the right side. So, yeah, I would like to think if you kept it simple and you just put the backup left tackle in, that might have actually, they might have had a little more continuity.
Yep.
However,
It's just like
if
why
they had such a great pass rush, maybe it didn't
Yep.
even matter who you put where on that line.
Yeah, I mean they had Hill covered. Literally, if they would have let Hill go, they even said, even all the announcers even said like the only way the Buccaneers really win this is if they contain Hill and basically just
Kelsey.
destroy their O-line to rush Mahomes. Because if Mahomes sits in the pocket too long, that's a TD off the bat.
Well, they basically found the formula
Mm-hmm.
for beating the
Yeah.
Chiefs,
Oh yeah,
or
yeah,
containing the Chiefs' offense, I should
yeah,
say.
and containing
Yeah.
Mahomes for sure.
he'll be back. He will
Oh,
be
yeah.
back. He's a great.
So at the
great
time of
quarterback.
this recording,
Yeah.
kids, it's
Yeah.
VD.
It's what?
It's
V-
VD, and I don't mean the disease.
Yes, it is. It's Valentine's Day.
Wednesday.
What'd you do for your significant others for Valentine's Day?
So I did something special this morning. I made a pot of bottom gun coffee for her. She
Aw.
loves coffee.
That's a gift that keeps giving all morning long.
It does, and we drank
Bottomguncoffee.com.
almost 2 pots of coffee this morning. So that was
Wow.
my gift.
You are a scholar and a gentleman and a
Sure.
romantic, apparently. Who knew?
Who knew? What about you, Coach Brew?
I'd like to hear from the DFE first. Did you give
So
her
we-
that 8x10 glossy autograph picture of me that she asked for?
Mm.
Is that your Valentine's Day gift? Your
In the
girlfriend who digs me?
mankini?
She digs me.
No, so I actually made her coffee as well. And so yesterday we actually kind of celebrated Valentine's. So we went to eat and grabbed
Where'd you go?
we
You
went
take her
to-
for fine Italian cuisine at Olive Garden?
No, we did have Italian cuisine, but not at Olive Garden.
Oh.
It was this kind of a local shop here in North Carolina. It's cool. It's really cool. It's pretty good.
Nice. It's good.
What
What
about
I
you?
do, thanks for asking.
Yeah.
What
That's
did
what I just
Mrs.
asked.
Brew get?
So, well, Mrs. Brew the woman's blessed. She gets
Of course.
she
Yeah.
gets all of this all year long.
Wow.
Like, what more could you ask for? right?
Really, that should be the limit. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look at me. My future is so bright.
Got to wear shades.
I got to wear shades.
Absolutely.
Parker doesn't even know what that's from. I bet he doesn't. Yeah.
Uh,
Point proven. Hashtag Amish. So yeah, we celebrated Valentine's early on Friday. My kids, we get takeout for the kids, and they stayed at home. What we do every Friday evening is my wife comes over here to Coach Brew HQ, and I've got a little like mini fridge full of beer and cocktails and all different kinds of bourbon, wine. I got a little mini bar here basically.
Nice.
And she comes over and we'll just have happy hour. We'll just hang out and kind of talk about the week. Look at the schedule for next week, talk about whatever weekend plans we have, like what the kids' activities are, what they have planned. Anyway, just kind of break it down and just recap the week. And it's a lot easier to do when the dogs aren't barking, competing for your attention, the kids aren't interrupting, when you're not at home. And then we usually just grab some takeout and go home. So what I did was we got takeout for the kids, and I brought in some candles, red tablecloth, some dishes and wine glasses and silverware, no sporks, no Francis's, some silverware from home, and got takeout from my wife's favorite restaurant. She got the baked salmon, which I know she loves, and I got a New York strip steak.
Nice.
And it was delicious. We shared a bottle of wine. She was very surprised because she thought we were just going to have a drink and go home. And yeah, we just hung out and had some dessert. And we had coconut cake from the bakery downstairs from my office.
Nice.
And it was a nice early Valentine's. And yeah,
That's awesome.
That's how we celebrated.
wow.
Very good. Coach
Being
Brew
the,
style.
First class hopeless romantic that I am. That's what we did.
I love it. That's great.
So
Well, very good. Well,
X Factor technology.
That's X Factor technology for you. And a little Super Bowl discussion, a little discussion about bourbon, Young Bruzy. We got a lot of stuff today. So
Young Roozy.
And we got Young Ruzy, and we all know what a
Ruzy and
Francis
Young Ruzy.
is now, and we
Yep.
all know about Bluetooth technology. So it's great podcast.
And what do we want people to do from here? I mean, obviously, young Roozy can't do this because, well, she's female, but the other listeners could check their penis.
Yeah, we want.
What's that mean, John? Because people just think my mind's in the gutter right now.
Yeah, no. What's your P level? That's what we're asking people. Are you a casual listener, or are you actively involved? And so we have a number of Day One P1 fans that are actively sharing content on the web, whether it's through Twitter. They're going on to our YouTube page and they're liking, they're sharing, they're telling all their friends. And those are the kind of fans that we want to have. In fact, those fans have been getting, I don't know, mystery boxes.
What are they called?
They're called
P1s.
They're called P1s, Day One P1 fans.
Yep.
And they're getting, we've been sending out casual? That's not the word I'm looking for.
Hardcore fans.
Random gifts to our hardcore fans, like Bottom One Coffee, some Day One P1 mugs, lots of merch, some books. So stay tuned. If you are not a Day One P1, you got to jump on board. Be a P1 fan.
What's it mean to be a P1?
Yeah, it means that
on the level of penis. You could be a P1, you could be a P2, you could be a P3. What's it mean to be a P1?
It's the pinnacle. It's the top. It's the biggest fan. So
You're like the A-list player.
It is a A-list.
In
Yeah,
the game.
Exactly. Yep.
You're recommending us to others. You are rating, reviewing 5 stars. You are sharing this across your social media platforms. You follow us on social media. You've subscribed and you've touched our bells. You've jingled our bells on the notifications on YouTube, so you know when a new video is coming. That makes you a P1.
Young Roozy. Young Roozy had too much.
Too much.
Lakers Lark.
All right, Roozy. So that's how you become a P1. You should aspire to be a P1 because we do things for our P1s. You know, when we take this show on the road, our P1s might be able to join us on special field trips too. Once probably the 2024 election's over and we're removed from lockdown and we, the mail-in voting has concluded again. The recount has concluded. Like once 2024 hits, I think, we'll be able to tour and do things again,
Yep.
Yep.
Bourbon tour.
Yeah. So we're going to broadcast live from the Bourbon Trail. We're going to do some other fun things and we're going to take you on the ride with us.
So get on board.
You got to be a P1.
Join us. And so the
Those
way you
slackers,
do that,
non-hackers, or self-pitiers, those are P3s. Like
Correct.
we're kind of glad you're here, but you're like the ant on the elephant's butt. You need to elevate your status.
Yep.
Don't just be along for the ride. Freeloading.
Exactly.
P1.
P1, baby.
That's what we're looking for. Ring our bells, push our buttons, touch us in all the right places on YouTube and iTunes, right?
Yes.
All the links are in the comments, in the description.
Share.
Yeah.
Tell your friends.
Right.
I mean, this is like, you got what you paid for this. You got
Yes.
exactly. Actually, we over-delivered. You got more than you paid for here. So just do your part.
Do your part.
Yeah. Share it up.
Yep. All right.
Thanks. That's a wrap. We'll
That's
catch
a
you
wrap.
next time. This fabulous episode has been brought to you by our friends at Bottom Gun Coffee.
Bottom Gun Coffee.
BottomGunCoffee.com.